prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Wanted to drop a video and talk about, of all things, the transfer portal. That's all we've been talking about for the last couple of months, it seems like. But it does sound like that Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Volunteers are done. I don't think they're going to take any more transfers unless the right person just happens to come along. But look, let's just scan through real quick and look at the transfer portal on 24/7. Who's come in, who's left. You look at the quarterback position, just look at the number of players. Obviously, the Vols add Joe Milton and they add Hendon Hooker, and then you can see there who all has left. It is changing the game. And like I said, we have been talking about the transfer portal and pretty much nothing but the transfer portal for what seems like 3 to 4 months at this point. But I saw an article, and I want to kind of go through that article, and it's highlighting who is going to make the biggest impact as far as who the Vols have added through this transfer portal. So I just wanted to kind of scroll through and show all these names. Like I said, it's crazy the amount of roster attrition we have seen just since spring practice wrapped up. But we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. Before we do that, as always, guys, go ahead and make sure you smash that thumbs up just below the video. Please press that like button. If you're new here, welcome. Go ahead and subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we drop new content or when we happen to go live, which we are going to do on Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be watching the 98 National Championship game. The Four Horsemen are back together. The band is back together. All four of us are going to be online. Should be a good time. And then also later today, Tennessee takes on Alabama in the SEC baseball tournament. Myself and the Indy Kid will be going live immediately following the game. So I hope you will join us for that post-game show. Now, like I said, let's get into the article here. What I really wanted to focus on is which incoming transfer will have the biggest impact for the Vols this fall. And like I said, this is a little lengthy, but I want to go through it, man, because this is a great article, Matthew Ray, SI.com. But let's just jump right in. It says here, several Tennessee's players are currently on campus, and the remaining players will start trickling back in over the next week after June 1st preseason work goes into full swing. And look, that we're going to kind of transition. Like I said, we've been covering all these transfers over the last couple of months. We're going to kind of transition. There's going to be a lot of visits in June. There's going to be camps in June. So we'll probably transition a little bit more recruiting coverage until we lead into the fall. Trying to provide you guys as much content as possible, even though it is the off season. It goes on to say Josh Heupel and company have added key additions through the transfer portal, and they could take more as players have from now to June 30th to declare. Again, I don't think that's going to be the case unless the right guy. I don't know what they would be looking for at this point. They've filled needs on the defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs. The only thing I could see is if maybe the right offensive lineman came along, they would maybe go down that road. But this says the article based on what the Vols have brought in through May 24th, which was 2 days ago. So obviously they don't have Torrance in the mix. But I like the kid. I don't think he's going to be your impact player. We're trying to take a look and see who is the top guy. This article, 3 different guys contributed, so we'll go through it here. The first one says the Vols have made some noise with the amount of highly coveted transfers they have been able to land this offseason, but Texas transfer linebacker Juwan Mitchell tops them all. Right out of the gate, I think I agree here. As far as impact player, Juwan Mitchell is huge. And it's not just because what he brings to the table. Obviously, the article goes on here to say he led Texas in tackles last season, has tremendous size to allow him to make plays against the run. But this is where I start to agree a little bit more. Tennessee's linebacker situation was looking rough through the majority of the spring practices, as 3 of the ball linebackers are walk-ons and another is a converted long snapper. I think that's what makes Juwan Mitchell such a huge addition, is because the amount of turnover that Tennessee saw at linebacker. It's not that Javonte Payton coming in as a wide receiver is not going to make an impact. He has an opportunity to make an impact from day one. Juwan Mitchell was way more of a need than Javonte Payton. So that's why when I'm looking at everybody that transferred, I would probably put Juwan Mitchell as the top guy to make an impact. The article goes on to say Mitchell's size gives him the ability to fill in gaps on the Tennessee defense, and his 6'1", 235 frame gives him the length to cover many places on the field. That's something that we missed last year. Everybody, anytime we talk about Crouch or Henry T, usually the comment section is full of, well, they couldn't cover, doesn't matter, good riddance. They were the best we had last year, but no, they could not cover, so hopefully Juwan Mitchell will be able to step in and make a difference right out of the gate. Says Tennessee landed the best available player at a position in need, and with Mitchell starting right away, he will have a quick and significant impact in Knoxville. Agree 100%. He's going to start from day one, and I think he could possibly be the leader of that defense. That was Jack. I don't know who Jack is. This is Jake. Don't know who Jake is. I'll give you the names at the end of the article. But it says, in swift success, Josh Heupel's hit pay dirt, blah, blah, blah. We don't need all that. Let's go down and see who he thinks is going to make the biggest impact. He says you don't just look for instant playing time. You also look at the scope of the season and who could, over the course of 12 to 13 games, register the greatest impact on his position group. Says for that literal and figurative honor, I would look no further than former Kansas defensive tackle DeJoun Terry. This is another one. This is why I love this article. Maybe because I agree with them so much. I agree with all three guys. Says at 6'4", 320 pounds, Terry brings a dangerous combination of size and athleticism. Look, when we made the video when he first committed to Tennessee, his athleticism for the size of his body is just, he's a freak. He is a freak athlete. Talks about him playing basketball in high school. Another thing, the kid played 1 year of high school football, and he's already making an impact. I think when you get Rodney Garner to develop this kid, the sky is the limit. I just don't know if DeJoun Terry is ready to make that impact this year, which is the way that I'm looking at it. Who is going to make the biggest impact in 2021? For that, I still go Juwan Mitchell. But long-term, DeJoun Terry could be a huge impact player for Tennessee moving forward. Talks about his relationship here with Rodney Garner, which dates back to high school. His impact should send ripples across a defensive line that needs all the pass rushing help it can get. Definitely. 2020 was a disaster. No pressure on the quarterback, which in turn leads to, we talk about being able to cover in space. You can only cover for so long. If nobody, it starts up front. If nobody's getting pressure on the quarterback, it doesn't matter who's playing defensive back. It doesn't matter who is playing linebacker. It all starts up front. Talks about here about his work ethic is what guided him to become a prized football recruit after his time on the hardwood, and it helped him generate similar buzz when he decided to enter the transfer portal. Talks about him being a self-proclaimed gym rat and emphasized this during an early interview with VR2 on SI before his commitment. I feel like they are getting a player that is going to come in and really work. Smart player, fast player, and a player that is going to work within the lines of the game. Just a compassionate player that loves the game. Marcus Harris here, Terry's former teammate, says, I feel like DeJoun is one of the fastest learners on the team. Again, put him with Rodney Garner and let's go. Final opinion here. This is from Matt Ray. Says Jake and Jack both make great points for their players, yada, yada, yada. We don't care. We don't need the little hoopla there. Goes down and talks about, Juwan Mitchell, how he's going to make an impact. Talks about Terry being a tremendous addition, but I think Caleb Tremblay may have the greatest impact. And let me say this, and then we'll get into Caleb Tremblay and what he brings to the table, Matt Ray's opinion of Caleb Tremblay. Another reason I love this article so much is because all three guys, Juwan Mitchell, DeJoun Terry, Caleb Tremblay, they are all three going to make each other better. You put a big body like DeJoun in the middle, let him take up space. He's going to demand double teams. That's going to free up Juwan Mitchell. It's going to open holes for Juwan Mitchell to attack. Same goes for Caleb Tremblay. All three guys are going to benefit each other, which is why this article is so good, and I had to share it with you. Even though we're going live today, I wanted to add a video today. Says here, I've talked to a couple of good sources who believe if Tremblay stays healthy, he will play himself into a draft pick under Rodney Garner. Again, Rodney Garner If you don't think defensive linemen want to come play for Rodney Garner, you're crazy. Anybody that wants to get to the league as a defensive lineman knows Rodney Garner is the guy in the SEC to put you in the league. Goes on to say the once coveted junior college recruit is set to make his last run at the NFL and will treat it just like a business trip. That's exactly what he called it. Called it a business trip. One and done. Said he's not coming here to settle in for a few years. He's packing a suitcase and he's going on a business trip. Rodney Garner is his way to the league. You know, I dropped the recruiting spotlight, I think it was yesterday, on Caden Curry. Had a ton of Ohio State fans. They didn't listen to a word I said. They just came in talking about how Caden Curry is going to Ohio State. No question about it. Maybe so. That's what I said. I said Ohio State was leading. They don't understand English. That's fine. But if Caden Curry wants to get to the league, Rodney Garner's the guy to do it. So don't count Tennessee out. Goes on to say a little honorable mention here for Joe Milton. Says he certainly has a case for the starting job and to be each of our picks. Milton will have to quickly learn Tennessee's install and make things come together on the field. I will say this, when you're talking about immediate impact, if Joe Milton wins the starting job, then he very well could be the number one impact player. But that's yet to be determined. I know you guys. Harrison Bailey all the way. We'll see how that plays out. Leave me a comment, guys. Let me know, what are your thoughts? Which one of the transfers do you think is going to make the biggest impact? I have a feeling the comment section is going to be full of a lot of Juwan Mitchells, and that's who I'm going with. Juwan Mitchell is going to make the biggest impact. If you have not done so yet, please smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. We would greatly appreciate that. If you want to show some support, you can also pick up the official merchandise of the Talkin' VAWLS Network. That link will be in the description as well. Also, don't forget to join us tonight immediately following the baseball game. Tennessee takes on Alabama at 2 p.m. Will Heflin will be on the mound. Myself and the Indy Kid will go live as soon as the game ends. So tune in for that and then join us Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 98 National Championship Watch Party. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
How like me, poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we draw home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.